Welcome back to the channel, guys. So in this episode we're going to be exploring this amazing national park. We're going to have lunch here. This is just outside of Balranald, so stay tuned to the channel and thanks for watching. Well, it's time to travel and we've got the Windsor back on the road again. It's exciting. For those of you who've been watching our channel, seeing us do the renovations, we're now heading off on a 3,400 kilometre journey around New South Wales. We'll be sharing with you the good, the bad, the exciting places, the charming destinations. Dougie will be out having lots of walks, so we'll be sharing some of the history, the places to stay, the things to do, the food to eat, and so much more. So we look forward to having you on our journey as we explore this amazing country, see some amazing animals. So please don't forget to like and subscribe and come along on our epic trip in our Windsor Pop Top. So here we are in Yanga National Park. I'm not 100% sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but you can see from the sign what it's called. Now this is just outside of the town of Balranald, which is about an hour's drive from Mildura, which is where the Darling River, which we've been following on our 3,000 kilometre journey, meets with the Murray River. So we're now following the Murray and then we're going to split off onto the Murrumbidgee. So we're stopping here for lunch in this beautiful national park, but it's only recently, in 2007, has actually been national park. Prior to that, this was actually a working sheep station, and quite a large one with 164,900 acres of land, almost the size of a small country, maybe not. But it was a working station. It was bought by the New South Wales government because the area has a lot of wildlife, and is also very special because it is a breeding grounds for a lot of water birds on the floodplains. So it's one of those areas which is really, really special. It's rich in history, and Aboriginal families have been coming here for thousands of years. Now, it wasn't until 1830 when the Australian explorer William Wentworth established the pastoral station here, and he built the homestead in 1870, which is just up the road and still part of this national park. You can go and visit that. But our intention today is to sit by the river, have our lovely picnic lunch. You can camp here. So you can camp here and just book it like you would do for national parks. So you can book online and camp here, but you do need to be self-contained. Now, separate from that, we're going to go and explore the Woolshed. Now, the Woolshed right here was constructed in around the 1800s and was one of the largest, most modern woolshed in the Riverina district up to the time it was sold. Now, after it was sold, it then became a national park. But when an operating station, it could house up to 3,000 sheep and had approximately 40 shearers working at any one time. Now we're going to go along and watch the self-guided tour, and I'll let the little machines tell you the story. So this is wonderful, guys. Just check this out.
And down there, he's as green as they come. It's money out of my pocket if the sheep dry up, and I gotta wait for that useless lump to pan up. Doesn't he know that us shearers get paid by the sheep? It's a tough enough job without him slacking off. Rams are a handful being so big, and you have to be extra careful with the crown jewels, if you know what I mean. They can be pretty valuable with them, and not so much without them. What a pain. All flighty, and their fleece falls apart. What I do love is getting into a good line of ewes, cutting about 5 or 6 kilos. It's all about... Oh, it's quite a sight. I'm being a shearer.
Well, that was really interesting. I really enjoyed that display. I didn't record all of the little bits and pieces from the interactive display. You guys should come out and check this out. It really is worth it. It's a lovely way to spend an afternoon or camp over. Anyway, we're going to head off. I'm going to give you a quick look around Balranald. Now, we're here on a Sunday, so not much was open, so we didn't get to see a lot of it. And then we're going to head on to the town of Hay, where we're going to camp for the night. And I'll show you around that. So, welcome to the town of Balranald. We're in front of the Tourist Information Centre at the moment. As I mentioned before, it's actually a Sunday, so nothing's open. I would have liked to have had a look around the museum and everything here, but unfortunately everything is actually closed. Have to come back, I reckon. Anyway, so Balranald is famous for Aboriginal stuff. Just out of town is Yanga National Park, which has got a lot of Aboriginal history, but it was actually founded as a town in 1848 when Mr. MacDonald, who was the Commissioner for Crown Land, decided to name the town after the place he grew up with. So that was really interesting that he named it after his town from Scotland. Now, one of the big things that's really famous about Balranald is it's got this famous endangered bell frog, and all over the place you see all of these sculptures of these green frogs. Now, I would have liked to have gone to and walked this heritage walk that they've got advertised around the town, but unfortunately, we're heading on to Hay and I just don't have the time. But one thing I do want to show you guys before we head off is the old jail. And the reason being is there's loads and loads of ghost stories about it, and it's currently a museum, has been since it closed in 1977. But it's famous for having Ronald Ryan, who was the last Australian to be hung, here as a guest of Her Majesty. And he was there because he decided to, at the age of 16, he would rob the local bank, which I found rather interesting. He was starting young, but I suppose so did Ned Kelly. So here's the jail where he was first put in. They've done it up a fair bit, like it's a garden. It's part of the Tourist Information Centre precinct, but it's still really interesting when you come around the corner here and you just stick your nose in here. You'll get to see these inmates that were quite a surprise to me. I was quite shocked. I hope you guys can see the frog band. So, as I said, these sculptures are everywhere in Balranald, and they're well worth coming to see. So is it for their nature, Mungo National Park, and the population here is only a bit over 1,000 people. So it's not a big town, but it's still definitely an interesting town to come and see. So I think we'll be back, but we need to head off to Hay. Alright guys, so here we are, we're in the town of Hay. Now, I've shown you Balranald and I've shown you around that area, but I haven't explained to you the gap between when we left Menindee and we got here. So the reality is we left Menindee Lakes really, really early, and we took the back road down through Poonkerry, I think that's how you pronounce it. Now I can tell you that that is now all tarred, so you can actually go that way through. It's all tarred, which was really, really good. But by the time we got into Murrumbidgee, which is where we were staying for the night in the Caravan Park, it was pretty much getting dark, so we just stayed in the Caravan Park and then we headed off this morning. Well, actually yesterday morning to be exact. And so when we headed off yesterday morning, you can hear Dougie, he's outside at the moment, having a bit of a bark. So when we headed off yesterday morning, I didn't take any footage of that area. So the first time I took some footage was when we arrived in Balranald, which was basically about 100 k's from Murrumbidgee. But one day we'll get back to Murrumbidgee and I will actually spend a few days there. So we're now in the town of Hay and we're right on the Murrumbidgee River in a beautiful campsite called Sandy Point. Now you'll find that on Wikicamps, so just look it up, and it is free. It is a bit boggy, and I'll show you that in a minute when we go back outside. It is really still cold out here. There's been a lot of rain. I don't know whether it's just the way it is, but we've been following rain the whole time, and I'm really getting tired of one good day followed by 2 days of rain and cold, and I'm pretty much wearing a snow coat up here. But we're now in what is the Riverina region of New South Wales, which people have told me that this is the food belt where a lot of our food comes from. And I'm going to be heading off from here today, but I'm going to show you some footage from last night first, because when we got in, we went and had some quick wander up the main street, went to the local supermarket, and then we went out for dinner in a pub, which I'll share that information a bit later in this video. Now, we sat outside because we had Dougie, but the restaurant food was magnificent, absolutely magnificent, guys. Okay, so this beautiful artwork's on the side of the supermarket, and that amazing bank is just stunning. Look at the architecture in that. But I have to say, I've never heard of the AJS Bank. I'll have to look that up later on. But I want to tell you a bit about the town of Hay. So Hay was founded in 1859, and it's named after John Hay, who went on to be Sir John Hay, and he was a rich farmer in the area, but he was also the member, so the politician for the region. And he worked hard to improve the town, and it is very famous for agriculture in the town of Hay. And for a small country town, it's got a population of roughly 2,400 people and some amazing artwork. That is very cute. So you've got a little mouse. Now, I'm not 100% sure about this Mrs. McGrath and her sheep, but it looks like she actually herded her sheep up the main street of Hay, which is different. But Hay is definitely an interesting town. It's got some beautiful buildings. Now look at that fire station across the road there. That is absolutely stunning. And then this beautiful water fountain was something that really surprised me. I wasn't expecting something like this here, particularly in a small country town. This is the kind of stuff you sort of see in Europe, but look at that metalwork, it's just stunning. Now, you can see over there where the news agency is, that's where we're heading up to have our dinner at the Riverina pub. But before we go up there, I'm going to have a really good look at this sculpture. Well, obviously something's getting Dougie's attention outside, so I'm going to head outside to find out what's getting him all excited, and I'll be showing you around this lovely free camping at Sandy Point in Hay, right on the Murrumbidgee River. Now, if you're buying land here with a room with a view like this, it's going to cost you a fortune, and here we are getting it for free in a caravan. Now I'm ready to take Dougie out for a walk around the campsite. So I'm going to show you around while they pack up the caravan. I'm going to go down to the Murrumbidgee, and we're going to show you around this campsite, which is called Sandy Point in Hay. And it's beautiful. It really is. Now, there's loads of space here. There's a big bus here, and there's lots of facilities. Like there's toilets here, there's barbecues here, there's a boat ramp and fishing, and so much more. You couldn't ask for a nicer campsite, particularly when it's free. And you can literally walk from here into town because you're just on the outskirts of town. Now, we had planned to do a little bit of sightseeing in town, but some of the stuff we were going to see won't be open until after 10 o'clock, and we want to get on the road to Narrandera because it is going to take us about 2 and a bit hours to get to Narrandera from here, and we want to get moving. But you can really see how stunning this campsite is right on the Murrumbidgee. These beautiful old gum trees are just stunning. And I would love to have spent the 3 days here, which you're allowed to have, camping here. So you can camp here for 3 days for free. Okay guys, so before we head off, I thought I would show you how the caravan gets packed up to fit everything in. So as you can see here, we put a tarp on the bed. That's step 1. And I'll show you each steps as we go through them. So as I mentioned a minute ago, we actually are packing up the bed. Now this is where it gets a little bit entertaining because of the limited space. So I put a tarp over the bedding, and then we pile all the stuff onto the tarp. So all the bits and pieces, his fishing gear, the tables, other bits and pieces. I haven't brought in the ladder yet, but I will do, and also the folding chairs. But it makes good use of the bed space, so it's not a problem. And over here, just behind this, which I will move, is my art supplies. So I've got art supplies and those sort of things. And down in the nook, which you would have seen us build the nook before, is where I store my books and other bits and pieces. So you can see there's plenty of space in here. Dougie's got his spot down there. He's just having a nap at the moment because he's getting ready to go in the car shortly. Okay guys, so the caravan's all packed up and we're ready to head off to our next destination. Things that I'd like to come back to see. So we've got the caravan all packed up and we're just heading around the corner to have a look at this amazing water tank. Now it commemorates the Second World War and it is just beautiful. So like silo art, this water tank art is also amazing and you should come and check this out. It goes through and talks about all the different people that are painted on here, what their contributions were to the Second World War, and it is a beautiful memorial to those who fought in the Second World War in Hay. I would highly recommend come and check out Hay, have a great meal and see this, plus so much more. Okay, well thanks for watching this episode of our 3,400 kilometre trip around New South Wales. We hope you enjoyed seeing the town of Hay and Balranald. Now stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will be putting up the video of Naranda here for you to watch next. Thanks, we'll catch you next time.